24 years ago, in the 1984 presidential campaign, a young senator on a campaign of new ideas had stolen the New Hampshire primary and was on a cascading series of wins that looked like it was going to get him the Democratic presidential nomination against former Vice President Walter Mondale. And in a strategy session just before Super Tuesday, one of the key campaign advisors, campaign manager to Walter Mondale, suggested that the candidate borrow a line from a Wendy's commercial, the line being, "Where's the beef?" A question which has been asked of Barack Obama, which proved in some ways fatal to the young Senator Gary Hart. Well, Bob Beckel, that campaign manager, is here with us tonight from my Washington bureau. Bob, we all remember the story very well. I love to hear you tell it. Is there any way that the "Where's the beef" theme, in perhaps some different words, can be revived to take on Barack Obama this year?
Well, first of all, let me say that all this talk about stealing lines, Hillary Clinton stole my "Where's the beef" line. I take that sort of personally. But I'll tell you, there's a couple things that come out of this tonight. First of all, let's recognize this is the biggest white win that Barack Obama's had in any primary so far. Yes, it may have been a little whiter in Iowa, but this is a primary. And we're going to be close to 1 million votes tonight. That's number one. Number two, it was very clear from that speech he's not backing away from the change theme, clearly. But the other thing that strikes me about this tonight is he now has two opponents out there going at him, Hillary Clinton and John McCain. And he's going to have those two beating up on him for as long as she stays in this race, which we're going to assume for a moment will be a while. I did Texas in 1980 and obviously oversaw it in 1984. I would disagree to this extent. There are a lot of Hispanic voters down there. She still has, I think, a pretty good base to work from. But I thought the interesting thing that happened on all this, it's not a question of her picking, or Obama picking up her demographics. There is a gender gap developing here, and it's between men and women. Men are going now to Obama now in larger and larger numbers as the states go by, and he's staying even among women. I think that's important. The last thing I'll say is money matters, and he's got it and she doesn't. And he clearly spent a lot of it in Wisconsin. It showed organizationally. He's going to spend it in Texas, and look, she does just have that much money that's coming in, yes, but I'll tell you, when you run one of these things this big, you're spending tens of millions of dollars a week, and he's got it, she doesn't, and he's got an organization, she doesn't. That's going to matter in a place like Texas, particularly because you got caucuses. So I think those are the things that I would say are important. And one other point is that the northern tier states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, have been very close between Democrats and Republicans in a general election. They've been blue states, but they're very close blue states. And I think it's very important that Barack Obama did as well as he did tonight and get a turnout the way that they did.
The question arises is, Barack Obama has been accused of having well, you heard John McCain say it tonight, an eloquent but empty call for change. Certainly Hillary Clinton has a lot more beef in her sandwich than he has had in his, or at least in what she said. Is he vulnerable to attack on the same grounds in your view?
Yeah, of course he's vulnerable to the attack. I mean, look, it sounds like McCain and Hillary Clinton got together tonight and compared notes before they went out to hit Obama. That's clearly his area of weakness. However, I think he handled it pretty well because in this atmosphere, unlike when Gary Hart was running against us, there really is a desire for a lot of change out there now. The other thing that came out of tonight, and I think is very important and worrisome for the Clinton campaign, is that in a state that's over 90% white, most of those people believe he's the most electable candidate in the fall. That was something she had going for her for a long time. Right now, we're seeing it state after state. He's being perceived as the most electable between the two of them. If that takes hold, then I think that's your real Achilles heel.
All right, Bob, thanks. And thanks for your insights as always.
Thank you, sir.